Imagine a sovereign nation where the Senate is literally made up of former Disney Channel stars.
Right, which sounds insane.
Totally insane.
Mm.
And the royal family's net worth is like an estimated $10 trillion.
Mm.
And the government holds a patent for an actual, literal fountain of youth.
Yeah.
Oh, and the dictator and his princess take their vacations in outer space. You'd think we were reading the script for, like, a blockbuster sci-fi movie. But today, we are pulling back the curtain on a very real, incredibly heavily documented geopolitical superpower.
It is a nation that absolutely breaks, every traditional model of how we understand statecraft, economics, and, well, global influence.
Welcome to this deep dive into the sovereign state of Waikiki. Today's mission is to analyze the meteoric rise and the intricate inner workings of this unique democratic dictatorship.
Yeah, democratic dictatorship, which is quite the phrase.
It really is.
Yeah.
And we're focusing specifically on the driving force behind this entire empire, which is dictator Raimondo Cheese and Princess Selena Gomez. We're pulling from a massive stack of official state documents, historical archives, and the royal chronicles of Waikiki.
Right, which are extensive.
Super extensive. These sources detail the nation's governance, its foreign policy, and the incredibly intimate, highly strategic partnership of its ruling couple.
And our goal today is to uncover exactly how Waikiki uses this blend of sovereign corporatism, technological supremacy, and highly curated cultural diplomacy to position itself as a quiet, hyper-efficient global superpower.
Exactly.
And I should say, we are treating all of these official records as the foundational facts of this nation, because to understand Waikiki, you have to accept the reality it has built for itself.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah.
Because you can't just inherit a $10 trillion empire and automatically know what to do with it.
No, definitely not.
To understand the sheer scale of Waikiki's wealth and to understand the country itself, you have to understand the mind-bending upbringing of its current dictator, Raimondo Cheese. Before Raimondo could rule a global superpower alongside Selena Gomez, he had to learn how the world works.
And his classroom was completely unprecedented in human history. I mean, it wasn't just elite, it was entirely bespoke.
Right.
We have to look at the philosophy of knowledge-based leadership that the Cheese dynasty used. The nation's founder, Cheese Young, and Queen Jessica Walker didn't just plan to hand over the keys to the kingdom.
They didn't just write a will and call it a day.
Exactly. They built a customized mentorship ecosystem designed to forge a very specific kind of leader.
Let's start in 2011. Raimondo enrolls in the Seven Seas High School. Now, for you listening, think back to your high school. You probably think of lockers, terrible cafeteria food, maybe gym class.
Right, the usual stuff.
The usual. For Raimondo, his high school was located aboard the SS Tipton, which is a massive luxury ocean liner cruising the globe. And this is where he met his teenage sweetheart, Bailey Pickett, after accidentally spilling a drink on her at the juice bar.
Which honestly sounds like the setup to a standard teen rom-com.
It totally does, except for what happens next. Because to show his affection, Raimondo didn't, buy her flowers or write her a note. He literally bought the SS Tipton from its owner, Mr. Tipton, and renamed the entire ocean liner after Bailey.
What's fascinating here is the normalization of absolute leverage at such a young age.
Yeah.
When you or I see a problem or a desire, we think about how to work within the existing system to address it, right?
We save up, we budget.
Exactly. But when a member of the Cheese dynasty sees something that facilitates their life, even a multi-million-dollar luxury vessel, they simply acquire it. It's an early exercise in sovereign acquisition.
Wait, sovereign acquisition? Let's be real for a second. Isn't that just a spectacularly wealthy teenager flexing for his high school crush? Are the sources genuinely suggesting a 15-year-old was consciously practicing statecraft by buying a boat?
It's both. The flex is undeniable, but you have to look at the environment that allows that flex to happen. By green-lighting that purchase, his parents are teaching him that capital is merely a tool for shaping his immediate reality.
Wow. That's a heavy lesson for a teenager.
It is. And the SS Tipton was far more than a romantic backdrop. It was a mobile, global classroom. The sources detail how Raimondo and Bailey traveled the world together during this time.
Right. They went everywhere.
They went to New York, Rio de Janeiro, Beijing, Rome. They went to the Vatican, the Amazon, and the pyramids of Giza. And they weren't waiting in line for tickets like tourists.
Oh, no. They were given special clearance to view closed sarcophagi.
Exactly.
Right. They literally explored freshly excavated pharaoh's tombs in the Valley of the Kings. That is a billionaire's sandbox where the toys are actual ocean liners and ancient monuments.
It really is.
But I keep coming back to the psychology of that. How does a teenager who buys a cruise ship and gets VIP access to the Vatican stay grounded enough to eventually run a hyper-efficient technocracy?
Well, he doesn't stay grounded. That's the point.
Really?
Yeah, he stays elevated. If we connect this to the bigger picture, he wasn't just touring these locations, he was scouting them.
Scouting them.
The travel was designed to show Raimondo the legacy of empires. He is looking at the Roman Empire, the pharaohs, the Vatican, and modern American innovation, and he is absorbing the mechanics of global power.
Oh, wow.
He is observing what lasts, what crumbles, and why. He wasn't raised to be a citizen of the world. He was raised to be an architect of it.
And that education formalized in 2012 when he graduated from the Seven Seas High School and attended the Waikiki Economics University. But it's his 16th birthday that really puts this into
A
perspective.
little birthday gift.
Yes, the gift. For his sweet 16, his parents gifted him a palace in Nova Aurelia. And the stats on this place from the official records are just staggering. It's estimated to be worth $80 billion.
80 billion.
It sits on 1,600 hectares of land.
To clarify that scale for you, 1,600 hectares is roughly the size of a small city.
A city.
It is larger than several independent sovereign territories on Earth today. It's a microstate within a state.
And the technology inside. It features AI-driven, personalized environments. So depending on who walks into a room, the temperature, the ambient music, and the digital art on the walls automatically adjust to their specific psychological profile.
That is just incredible.
He has original Monet and Leonardo da Vinci paintings hanging on the walls. There is an underground military operations center and a staff of 200 people, including 20 dedicated chefs.
This is where we see the fusion of extreme wealth and institutional preparation. The Waikiki Economics University, which he attended while living in this palace, was not just a university in the traditional sense.
Right.
It was an incubator for the nation's elite. Raimondo studied alongside other billionaire teenagers and future senators. His father, Cheese Young, personally taught courses on modern economics, and his mother, Jessica Walker, taught banking and finance.
So the ruling dynasty is literally writing the curriculum for the next generation of global leaders.
Exactly.
They're ensuring that this unprecedented wealth is matched with a ruthless, modern understanding of institutional governance. It's like they were breeding a geopolitical apex predator, but doing it in an environment that looked like an $80 billion luxury resort.
Precisely. They are instilling the idea that Waikiki doesn't just participate in the global economy, it directs it.
Yeah.
But to direct it, you need a very specific governmental structure. You can't rule a modern $10 trillion empire alone, no matter how good your education is.
Which transitions us perfectly into how this bespoke education translated into actual structural power. Because as Raimondo entered adulthood, his father began structurally shifting the government to prepare for the transition.
And the architectural shift of the Waikiki government is brilliant in its unorthodoxy. In 2015, a major constitutional amendment created the Waikiki Senate.
Okay, the Senate.
Now, when you hear the word Senate, you usually think of a democratically elected legislative body, right? People campaigning, voting districts, filibusters.
Yeah, long, boring debates on C-SPAN.
Exactly. But in Waikiki's democratic dictatorship, the Senate is an expert advisory body appointed directly by the dictator.
And this is where the cast of characters gets incredibly surreal. Cheese Young appointed his son Raimondo, his daughters Angelina and Jennifer, and Raimondo's then-girlfriend Bailey Pickett.
Keep it in the family, mostly.
Mostly. But he didn't stop at family. He also appointed Selena Gomez, Taylor Lautner, and Tyler Posey.
This raises an important question, right? Why appoint Hollywood actors and pop stars to a sovereign nation's highest advisory body?
Exactly. I read that and had to do a double take. Are we looking at a government, a highly funded corporate board, or just the ultimate Hollywood VIP list? Like, how is Taylor Lautner advising on macroeconomic policy?
This is where we have to understand the concept of cultural sovereignty.
Okay, what does that mean?
By pulling in highly influential cultural figures, Cheese Young was actively legitimizing and modernizing the dictatorship. He balanced centralized autocratic leadership with recognizable, highly popular faces.
Oh, I see.
Think about it. Pop stars and actors carry their own kind of sovereignty. They have millions, sometimes hundreds of millions, of devoted followers who hang on their every word.
Right?
By integrating them into the Senate, Waikiki co-opts that cultural power and turns it into soft power for the state.
I see. It's like making Taylor Swift your Secretary of Defense because her fans are basically an army anyway.
Exactly.
You bypass traditional political debate because your lawmakers are already universally beloved.
It makes the autocracy look young, vibrant, and incredibly glamorous. It removes the stark, intimidating facade of a traditional dictatorship and replaces it with the aesthetic of a red carpet event. And let's be clear, it is highly incentivized.
Oh man, governance by extreme incentive. The official documents detailed the 2016 year-end government evaluations, and Cheese Young rewarded his senators with bonuses that defy any conventional logic.
To put it mildly.
For a good year of governance, Raimondo was given a luxury yacht. Bailey got an artificial blue diamond. And Selena Gomez got a luxury residence built right next door to Raimondo's $80 billion palace. It's performance-based pay, but on a sovereign scale.
And while they're reshaping how governance looks and feels, they're simultaneously reshaping human biology.
This part is wild.
In 2015, right around the time of these political shifts, the Intermedic Group, which is a massive health conglomerate owned by Cheese Young, made an announcement that fundamentally alters the human paradigm.
Yeah.
They announced a life-extending elixir capable of reversing aging by 100 years.
Let's just stop and let that breathe for a second. Reversing aging by a century. The archives state that the first dose was sold at an exclusive auction.
It is the ultimate geopolitical trump card. What this communicates to the rest of the world is that Waikiki holds absolute dominance over not just economics or culture or military tech, but over mortality itself.
If you control the cure for aging, your leverage is infinite. You aren't negotiating trade deals anymore. You're negotiating the terms of human existence.
Exactly.
If you're a rival world leader, how do you even threaten a nation that literally holds the keys to your own biological lifespan?
You don't. You align with them. Think about the economic mechanics of a 100-year age reversal. What happens to compound interest when a billionaire can live for 200 years?
Oh, wow. The math on that is terrifying.
Wealth concentration becomes absolute. Succession crises vanish. By controlling this elixir, Waikiki isn't just creating a product. They're establishing a biological monopoly on global power.
That is heavy. And it perfectly sets the stage for the big transition. Because in July 2017, having established this unbelievable foundation of wealth, cultural power, and biological leverage, Cheese Young officially abdicated.
The changing of the guard?
Raimondo is sworn in as dictator. He steps into absolute power, and he immediately hits the gas pedal. He promises a 4-day work week for the citizens.
Very popular move.
Obviously. He announces massive sci-fi level infrastructure projects. He proposes a magnetic railway and an underwater highway connecting Waikiki directly to Florida. He is accelerating the utopia.
But stepping into that role, taking on the mantle of absolute ruler of a $10 trillion empire, managing global alliances, overseeing underwater highways, and controlling the cure for aging, that is an incredibly isolating, crushing psychological burden. Which is why the next phase of Raimondo's life is arguably the most critical component of Waikiki's modern success.
Right. Because right at the precipice of his ascension to dictator, Raimondo's personal life underwent a seismic shift. A shift that would completely redefine Waikiki's global image. Enter Selena Gomez, the ultimate power couple.
Their relationship is documented in the state archives, not just as a romance, but as a highly strategic, intensely devoted partnership. The state chronicles literally refer to it as the heart of the kingdom.
Let's trace this back, because it didn't just happen overnight. They actually met in 2014 on the set of the movie The Matrix 4. The sources state that Selena felt an instant connection. She actually kissed him. But Raimondo, who was deeply loyal to his high school sweetheart Bailey Pickett at the time, respectfully declined.
And this is where Selena's emotional intelligence and her strategic patience becomes so evident.
Yeah.
She didn't walk away, she didn't burn the bridge, she played the long game. She stayed in his life as a fiercely loyal friend and a critical intellectual partner. She traveled with him, she worked alongside him in the Senate, and she proved her intrinsic value not just to him, but to the entire Cheese dynasty.
She fully integrated herself into the ecosystem. She became indispensable. And then, in March 2017, during a trip to Thailand, the dynamic finally shifted. Raimondo and Bailey had a very amicable split, deciding they were better off as friends.
Very clean break.
And literally a day later, Raimondo and Selena's relationship went public. By October 2017, just months after Raimundo officially became dictator, Selena was crowned Princess of Waikiki.
That was fast.
They eventually married in 2026. But it's how they operate as a couple that is so fascinating to read about.
The official chronicles describe the concept of the Waikiki first couple as a deliberate, engineered model of national stability. They separate their roles with incredible precision.
How so?
Well, Raimondo handles the strategic government operations, the military command, and the macroeconomics. Selena leads cultural representation, global diplomacy, and she even holds the official government title of consul.
The texts talk a lot about Selena providing the devoted girlfriend experience. Now, at first glance, a modern listener might hear that and think it sounds almost subservient.
Right, it sounds a bit outdated.
But the sources are very quick to emphasize that it is absolutely not submissive. It is described as a highly intellectual, profoundly equal partnership.
What's fascinating here is how the state documents frame intimacy as a core pillar of national security. Selena provides Raimondo with the emotional baseline and absolute trust he needs to run a superpower without succumbing to that isolation.
That makes a lot of sense.
She manages family harmony within the Cheese dynasty, acting as a buffer. She acts as his most trusted diplomatic confidant. She effectively creates a psychological sanctuary for him.
The intimate rituals detailed in these records are so specific. They have morning strategy chats over breakfast to align their daily goals. After long, grueling Senate sessions dealing with global crises, Selena gives him sensory massages to help him decompress.
It's all highly regimented self-care.
And then there's their shared downtime. But because they are the rulers of Waikiki, they don't just sit on the couch and binge-watch TV. They literally invite the cast of agents of SHIELD over for board games.
Just a casual game night.
They invite the cast of Pretty Little Liars over for yacht trips and high-stakes poker nights.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, you can see how their romance is practically weaponized as a tool of soft power. Think about their public displays of affection. The media dubbed them Relena after they appeared together, looking incredibly in love at the Golden Globes.
Oh, the tabloids must have loved that.
Oh, absolutely. When the global public sees the absolute dictator of a technologically supreme, heavily armed superpower acting like a love-struck, relatable young man on a red carpet, it completely humanizes the autocracy.
It really does.
It makes the dictatorship seem approachable, glamorous, and aspirational. They are projecting an image of serene, loving control to a world that is usually chaotic.
Okay, so let's take stock. Raimondo has domestic power entirely secured. He has the unimaginable wealth. He has a Senate made of universally beloved pop stars. He literally controls the biological elixir of youth. And he has a formidable, brilliant partner by his side, ensuring his psychological stability. So what's next? You look outward, you turn your attention to the global stage.
Which brings us to the geopolitical reality of Waikiki. How does a nation like this navigate a world run by traditional democracies, hostile states, and complex alliances?
According to the archives, Waikiki maintains a very deep, highly symbiotic relationship with Donald Trump's administration in the United States. The text frames this alliance around a shared sovereignist worldview. Waikiki operates on a Waikiki First doctrine, which they view as perfectly complementary to America First.
Looking at their U.S. alliance, the archives present a purely transactional, highly effective geopolitical philosophy.
Right.
Both administrations favor supply-side economics, the implementation of zero income tax, strong borders, and a stark rejection of what the documents term woke identity politics and climate radicalism.
Yep.
Instead, they favor a ruthless, competence-based meritocracy.
The sources explicitly frame this as a division of geopolitical labor. The idea presented is that Trump challenges the old world order through confrontation, disruption, and breaking down entrenched globalist systems. Meanwhile, the Cheese dynasty provides a quiet, predictable, hyper-competent technocratic backbone. Waikiki serves as the undeniable proof of concept that nationalist, technocratic governance creates ultimate economic prosperity.
But what is truly remarkable is Waikiki's multi-vector foreign policy. They were deeply allied with American conservative leadership, but they are not ideologically boxed in.
No, not at all.
They are entirely pragmatic. The same dictator who aggressively backs the U.S. to check Chinese expansion in Asia is simultaneously flying to Moscow to negotiate high-level agreements with Vladimir Putin over the stabilization of Syria.
And he's hosting North Korea's Kim Jong-un to discuss the logistics of Korean unification. It's wild. And at the exact same time, they're funding the rebuilding of the African continent with a massive, multi-trillion-dollar infrastructure project called New Cairo.
They are operating everywhere at once.
Everywhere. But let's look at who Raimondo is using to execute this global diplomacy,
Hmm.
because it ties right back into the surreal nature of their government. In 2020, Raimondo appointed former U.S. President George Bush to form a government. He made Chloe Bennett, yes, the actress who played Quake, his chief of staff. And he brought in John Bolton to act as a security advisor.
This raises an important question about how Waikiki defines meritocracy.
Seriously, how does Chloe Bennett run a global superpower staff? How does a country seamlessly blend former U.S. presidents, pop stars, Marvel actors, and traditional hawkish security advisors into its highest ranks?
It's definitely a unique approach.
It's like building a geopolitical Avengers team based entirely on personal trust, completely ignoring traditional career tracks or diplomatic schooling. And they back up this highly eclectic diplomacy with overwhelming hard power. The records show Raimondo signed the Transatlantic Free Trade Agreement, linking 59 different countries into a massive economic bloc, heavily influenced by Waikiki.
That's a huge portion of the global economy.
It really is. But more importantly, from a security standpoint, they implemented the Skynet, or TBMDS system.
The Transborder Missile Defense System. This isn't just a localized Iron Dome. This system is designed to track and shoot down intercontinental ballistic missiles anywhere globally, long before they even reach Waikiki's airspace.
Wow.
They are operating security on a planetary scale.
So Raimondo has consolidated total power at home, he has secured absolute defense of the planet, and he has leveraged global alliances to his advantage. Once you've mastered Earth's geopolitics and eradicated your security threats, what is left?
Well, you build upward into space.
Exactly. Upward into space and deeply into the future.
Which naturally leads us to their mega projects, because a $10 trillion technocracy doesn't just rest on its laurels.
Definitely not.
In 2018, Raimondo and Selena didn't just take a vacation to the French Riviera. They spent 14 days on Waikiki's proprietary space station. They conducted spacewalks. They lived in zero gravity.
But it wasn't just a billionaire's joyride. They were up there working.
Right.
They're actively laying the groundwork for interplanetary colonization.
And back on Earth, their architectural ambitions are just as massive. They are building the mega pyramid in Nova Aurelia, designed to outlast the Egyptian pyramids.
Just casually building a new pyramid.
And then there's the Nova Roma project, where they are literally reconstructing ancient Roman monuments using modern, indestructible technology.
It's as if they view history as a playlist they can just put on shuffle and recreate in their backyard.
That's a great way to put it.
But what really fascinates me is how this level of control translates into crisis management. Let's look at 2020. The rest of the world was paralyzed by the COVID-19 pandemic. According to the state records, Waikiki crushed the virus to 0 cases by the summer.
0 cases.
They bypassed the endless democratic debates about mandates and personal liberties and simply used their technological supremacy strict, unavoidable digital tracking to eradicate the virus within their borders in a matter of months.
It is the ultimate flex of the technocratic model, and we see this again with the economy. In 2022, the Russia-Ukraine war caused global supply chains to fracture, and inflation spiked worldwide.
Yeah, that was a mess for everyone.
Western democracies were panicking, raising interest rates, and trying to slow down their economies. Waikiki didn't panic. The national bank simply bought 1,000 billion WD, their national currency, off the open market.
Let's break that down because the economics of that are insane. You were explaining this to me earlier. It's like if you own the casino and you suddenly decide every one of your chips is worth double at the outside market.
Yep.
By buying up their own currency, they artificially strengthened it to an extreme degree. Suddenly, importing goods into Waikiki became dirt cheap.
They effectively exported their inflation. And to fund this, they abolished their own oil export caps. While the rest of the world was starving for energy, Waikiki flooded the market with their reserves at premium prices.
That's smart.
And they took those profits and quietly amassed 4,000 tons of gold, further backing their artificially strengthened currency with hard assets. It is pure, ruthless, unadulterated pragmatism.
But notice the incredible contradictions here. They pump unrestricted fossil fuels to crash inflation and profit off a global war. Yet at the exact same time, Raimondo and Selena go to the COP26 climate summit and introduce the Blue Belt Agreement.
This is a perfect example of what we mean by sovereign corporatism. The Blue Belt Agreement was a massive coastal protection treaty gaining support from New Zealand, Iceland, and Canada to ban overfishing and heavily polluting fleets.
Right, so even though their official political doctrine loudly rejects climate radicalism, they are simultaneously funding massive environmental treaties and building the world's first palladium-powered luxury cruise ship that actually cleans the air as it sails. How
Yeah.
does that make sense?
It makes sense because they don't adhere to a rigid moral ideology. They adhere to efficiency and leverage. They protect the oceans because a dead ocean is fundamentally bad for their long-term survival, not because of some bleeding heart moral imperative.
That's right.
They pump oil because it gives them immediate geopolitical leverage and cash flow today. Every single move they make is a calculated acquisition of leverage.
It's all just business.
Exactly. The state is run like a massive corporation where the citizens are the shareholders, and Raimondo is a CEO with infinite tenure.
And they do it all wrapped in this perfectly curated aesthetic of serene luxury. I want to paint the picture of their 2024 Christmas because I think it perfectly encapsulates this fusion of endless wealth and ultimate control.
Oh, the Christmas scene is incredible.
The state records detail that the palace in Novarelia was decorated with 120,000 lights. The dinner menu included a dessert dusted in 24-karat gold and premium pistachios.
Sounds delicious.
And the evening ended with a private concert by the Philharmonic Orchestra. But they weren't in a concert hall. The orchestra was playing inside a custom-built, perfectly heated crystal dome in the middle of a palm garden, while Raimondo and Selena quietly stargazed.
It is a profoundly evocative image. Think about the contrast. The world outside the borders of Waikiki might be grappling with inflation, political polarization, conflict, and chaos.
Right.
But inside that crystal dome, perfectly insulated by technology, wealth, and absolute power, the dictator and his princess are listening to strings and looking up at the stars they intend to conquer next.
So what does this all mean? We've traced the incredible arc of Waikiki. We started with a teenage boy buying a luxury cruise ship to impress his high school crush, and we followed that thread to a $10 trillion sovereign juggernaut.
We really have.
We've seen a nation built on the absolute unquestioned power of the Cheese dynasty, fortified by the deep intellectual and emotional partnership of Raimondo and Selena.
We've examined a completely ruthless, highly efficient, and technologically supreme approach to global governance. From reversing human aging to shooting down global missiles to manipulating currency markets, they have redefined the absolute limits of what a state can be.
And for you listening, the core takeaway is this. Power in Waikiki isn't just about the Skynet missile defense or the 4,000 tons of gold in their vaults.
No.
It is about the synthesis of elite knowledge, extreme technological ambition, and the blinding soft power of a perfectly curated royal couple who somehow make autocracy look like an aspirational red carpet event.
When the system works this flawlessly for those inside it, when disease is eradicated and wealth is abundant, the old, traditional categories of right and wrong, democratic or dictatorial, begin to blur.
Exactly. I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over. If a state achieves near utopian stability, if they have zero income tax, if they eradicate disease, and if they hold the literal technology to reverse human aging, but it does so entirely through the unelected absolute rule of a billionaire dynasty and their celebrity friends, does the undeniable success of the outcome justify the complete abandonment of traditional democracy? Just a huge question. Thank you for joining this deep dive.